Hey, my creative crafty friends, this is Gloria Plunkett with Designs by Gloria. I'm here to share the sponging technique that I had on my blog today. I wanted to share this with you. Super easy. All I did was buy some glycerin from my local Walmart. Actually, my husband picked it up. I got one of my sponges and some classic ink pads from Stampin' Up. What I did is I used my Whisper White cardstock. I put a dot of glycerin on my Stampin' block, and I'm going to grab the glycerin from there instead of pouring from the jar. I'm going to open up my ink pad. I'm using three colors: Pool Party, Blueberry Bushel, and Night of Navy. I'm going to ink up my block here, and I'm going to pull the color from the block. I wanted to have a bit more of the Pool Party rather than the darker colors to add to my cardstock, because if you put a lot of the dark color, you'll see in a little bit, you really don't need a whole lot of it. It just really sucks up on the sponge and onto the paper. So here I'm inking up my block with my sponge, dabbing it off a little, starting at the edge of my paper and rolling in with the sponge and ink. And as you can see, it's smooth as silk. There's no lines, there's no streaks, there's no circles or anything like you typically get when you just try to sponge your cardstock without the glycerin. I love how this looks. It's smooth, it's sleek, it's beautiful. I'm going to be creating a lot more backgrounds using this beautiful technique. Super easy, super fun. Here I'm using the Pool Party color, sponging it all around. Here, let me lift it up so you can see it. You can see it, just there's some dark spaces, some lighter spaces, which is great for kind of like sky looking. Now I'm going to bring in my blueberry bushel color, and I'm just going to dab a little bit because you really don't need a whole lot. It really sucks up this color on the sponge with the glycerin. I'm not sure why, but it does. And trust me when I tell you, you only need a little bit. Don't make the mistake I did. So I'm just dabbing it on here on my block, making sure I get a nice and smooth, my sponge nice and smoothly inked up. And then I'm coming in just like I did before from the side of my cardstock and bringing in the color. And I can't even begin to tell you how smooth this goes on. It's really super cool. I love how this is turning out. And as you can see from my card I created from my downline, congratulations card, it's just absolutely beautiful. You don't get any streaks. You don't get any lines. Again, it just goes on like silk. I think you're going to love this technique if you give it a try. Here now I'm going to go over to the darker color. You can see I left the center part a little lighter because I didn't want a lot of it to be colored in the deeper, darker color, at least where my snowmen are going to go. So now I'm opening up the Night of Navy. Again, a little dab will do you. I just simply tab a little bit on the corner of my block, and my blocks wash up really easily. A little bit warm, soapy water, and you're done. So now I need to grab my Night of Navy sponge, dab on the glycerin all over the sponge to make sure it's nice and smooth in there. Tap it on my ink, and then again, like I've done two other times, I'm coming in on the side and sponging all around. You can see there are no streaks, there are no lines, there's no circular um, drabs that you get when you're trying to drag your sponge through the Whisper White cardstock. Now, I only use Stampin' Up! Cardstock on my projects. I really don't know if this is going to work the same way on Walmart cardstock or any other type that you have, but you can certainly give it a shot and see how it works. I love how this turned out for me. I'm very happy with the results. And you just keep adding different ink colors here. This is just a sample that I'm not this is not for the card I had already created. But I'm going back in. I'm picking up the rest of the dark Night of Navy color, and I'm kind of sponging it more on the top to kind of create that little halo around the center. So my little folks that I'm going to add to this later on for another project, uh, you can see them. So anyway, you can see it's turned out really cool. And I thank you for stopping by. And I hope you have a blessed day. Just grab you some glycerin, your sponge, your ink pad, and you should be good to go. Thanks, and let me